Hello and welcome to our video presentation of our 2008 Ferrari F430 Spider F1. So before we get into detailed particulars on this example, just want to mention a few things about the 430 in general and the market. So we've been established 22 years now, always selling Ferraris, and F430 and Ferrari 360s have been one of our most frequently sold vehicles. I think we've sold in excess of 50 F430s now. It's a car that we understand very, very well. As the business owner, I've owned 3 personally over the years. And what's interesting now is how values are going, because 458s are going up and up and up. Obviously that's the model after this. And what's happening is the price differential needs to remain reasonable, and as such 430s are firming up nicely. And what we're going to see is an increase in values in these cars. There's no two ways about it, because the newer products from Ferrari now, they really don't give the sense of occasion, the sound and the overall experience that something like this does. Not to mention the fact they depreciate up to £100,000 in the first year in some cases. So what's definitely happening is people are starting to recognize how good these cars are as a proposition, as something to own and enjoy, but something to be a safe store of value as well. So then we start to look at 430s and dissect the cars that are bad cars, cars that are heavily needing preparation, cars that have had too many owners and need too much work doing and have had too much paint. And there's not many good 430s around anymore without paying an astronomical price tag. We have found this particular car, and it's a car that we know and we understand. And this particular car is only a 3-owner example. It was sold by a main dealer at 19,000 miles, and it's now got 20,000 on it. And it was advertised for a 6-figure sum and beautifully prepared and presented by them as a very, very good car to start with. So this is a good opportunity for somebody to basically buy it off us. We're not a main dealer. We don't have their overheads and we're not asking their prices. But it is in essence the same car with a discount. This car has done 20,000, I think it's around 400 or 500 miles. As the business owner, I drove it back on site, approximately 200 miles. So I've driven this car, I've tested it, and actually added some miles onto it in doing so, just getting it back. But that was a worthwhile experience just to make sure that everything was okay. And I can definitely say that in the marketplace at the moment, this is a standout car. Not only is the condition impeccable, it's got a full Ferrari main dealer service history. Off memory, there's 16 stamps in the book. And let's not forget, it was sold Ferrari approved 1,000 miles ago through all their stringent checks. It's just had a health check at the main dealer, which normally involves them absolutely pulling these cars apart and finding thousands and thousands of pounds worth of work. That was all clear. The clutch is approximately half worn. The brake discs are approximately 10% worn. The tyres are all 6 to 7 mil Pirelli. This is as good as it gets in the 430 sector. Very, very pretty car. Finished in Nero Daytona. So it's got the metallic heavy flake within the base coat. It looks absolutely stunning. Now, we really pride ourselves on being able to find these cars, and once they're gone, they're gone. They're very hard to replace. I'd say this is in the top 10% quality wise of all the F430s we've ever had in stock, and that's no exaggeration. They do vary. Sometimes we do have to prepare these cars quite heavily, and that's not a bad thing, because they are what they are. They're an Italian thoroughbred vehicle, then they need maintenance. But we've literally just bought this car back, re-cleaned it. It's heavily ceramic coated and detailed already. And this is how it presents. It's absolutely nothing short of stunning. So to confirm, all the wheels are perfect. We've talked about the brake discs. They're absolutely fine. They will probably last forever on this car unless it's driven around a track or something like that, because these ceramic brakes, they're made for track use, and people that drive these on the road, they really don't get the maximum potential out of them. Front end PPF on this vehicle, so condition is impeccable. Beneath that, it's not a chippy example as you often find with black. There's the odd very, very minor chip being ultra critical here and there, but please don't be put off by that. This is as sharp as it gets for this age and mileage, in almost an investment grade condition. Very, very clean, all panel gaps correct, no issues to report absolutely anywhere on this vehicle, and a beautiful spec. So it's a 2008 car, it's a late car. They do drive differently to, let's say, 2005. The gear change is stronger, it's smoother, it's sharper, it feels more responsive. They did some revisions to geometry as well, and it does drive night and day different to, let's compare it to an 05 plate, for example, an early car. So that's very much in its favour. The spec is tremendous. It's got the ceramic brakes, as we've talked about, but let's get down to it and show these seats. So these are the carbon back race seats, which are extremely rare and extremely desirable. And what's interesting is when you look at the more classic Ferraris like the 360 and 355, anything with these seats now commands a disproportionate premium. These seats alone are worth about £15,000 if you took them out the car and sold them. So as obviously time goes on and this car falls through the modern classic and into the classic sector, these seats will pay dividends to it on that basis. Not to mention the fact they look tremendous and they give a totally different driving experience. Anyone who's 6 foot or over should consider these almost an essential option on a 430. They put you in a much better driving position, but that all aside, they look stunning, and obviously they are real carbon fibre. They just add a completely different dimension to the interior on an F430. The condition of these is outstanding. There's no significant wear, and there isn't any wear on this interior. It's absolutely remarkable, because normally we get these cars in and they've got sticky switches, and you know, we have to put a lot of labour and love into getting them right. But if I can just show some close-ups of the ashtray, for example, and those buttons there in the central tunnel, and the air vents, and the grab handles, and the switches, and the door handles, it's absolutely like brand new. There's nothing you could fault this car on condition wise. It also has a lovely option of this carbon steering wheel with a red marker at 12 o'clock. That's all factory. With that came carbon paddles and carbon around the instrument clusters, and that's a good option, because when these aren't carbon and they're black in there, they tend to discolour over time and look a bit untidy. But that is real carbon fibre, factory spec, and that's on and above the carbon driving zone, which came with this carbon trim here and here also, and around the vents. So heavily spec'd car, this one. Looks absolutely stunning. Rev counter in yellow, just breaks it up, ties in lovely with the badge. It just looks absolutely superb. So the hood's down for the purpose of this video. What I would say on that is that's immaculate as well. They do often crease in this rear quarter area quite heavily in some cases as they get used. Again, obviously over time and mileage and use, that happens, it's life. But this car's particularly sharp. There's literally no issues with rear lights being loose or anything like that. Again, you can just catch that metallic flake there and also see the depth in the paint. We've not detailed this car, but it's clearly had a lot of detailing done over time to bring it up to its condition and maintain it. Got the fitted cover with it. We've got the original Ferrari battery conditioner. Again, let's go in the engine bay and just show how good this car is in here. These plenums, the paint can be susceptible to flaking off, and you'll see various cars, if you're researching 430s and looking to buy one, where they've been refinished, not always to a good standard. Sometimes they've got a smooth finish and the paint's coming off again, but these are literally, again, like new, and the rest of the engine bay is just absolutely spotless. Before anyone asks about exhaust manifolds, they are a weak point on F430, and they were done on this car relatively recently. We've got an invoice from the main dealer for those. So upgraded manifolds fitted and resolved. I think off memory that was around 17,000 miles. Please don't quote me off that on this video, but there is an invoice from the main dealer for those. And it's still wearing various stickers where it has been prepared and sold by the last dealer. So again, just to confirm, that front end is absolutely spotless. There's really nothing to fault this car on anywhere, to be honest. We will put it through some minor detailing prior to handover, but this is an absolute standout car. Great opportunity. Incredibly difficult to find with these seats. For many people, these seats are a must, and if you're that way inclined, do not miss this car. Give us a call, put a deposit on it, get it reserved, because when this is gone, it's gone. And when we get 430s in this condition, it's not selling them that's difficult for us, with all due respect and without sounding arrogant. It's finding them, it's replacing them. But this really is up there with the best without asking a six-figure sum. It's a lovely, lovely example. It drives beautifully. Genuinely, both myself and my colleague, there's only two people here, we both said, you know, it's a car you'd want to keep really, but we are in business, we've got to sell it, and it is available. We can offer nationwide delivery, we can take a part exchange, and we can arrange finance. We've got a brilliant broker who can tailor a deal on this car and manage your investment with a sensible deposit, a residual payment, and a sensible monthly payment. And it's just a brilliant, brilliant store of value, if nothing else. But most of all, it's just a brilliant example of an iconic Ferrari that's now a dying breed. And we all know what that means in terms of valuation going forward. It can only go one way within reason, and given enough time, these cars will be a lot more expensive. And when it's something like this, with this spec, with this provenance, in this condition, it will just stand out from the crowd. And we only have to look at, for example, 355s and the classic sector now, how that's moving upwards. When that happens to this will be one of the cars that stands out and does incredibly well. So it's a great, great opportunity. Like I say, we do sell a lot of 430s. They're just very, very rare to find that tick all boxes like this. It doesn't mean they're bad, but they're very rare to find with such a solid history in such a remarkable condition, and this car will not disappoint. As I'm looking around it, typically on a video like this would point out any defects and things like that. There's nothing to point out on this car, but please let us know your requirements, and we're happy to reserve it for a serious buyer only over the phone, subject to you coming and taking a look at it, or we can deliver it nationwide as discussed. But just to clarify some key points then, full Ferrari history, manifolds done, clutch wears approximately 50% and documented, it's serviced up to date, tyres are 6 mil, somewhere around there, brakes 10% worn, front end PPF, no cosmetic issues anywhere to report, and a very, very unique spec. So please get in touch, and we look forward to hearing from you with your inquiries.